for being here. I'm your host, Brandi Hofer. I am a Canadian artist. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I'm a Canadian artist, mother to 3 boys. So trying to not feel tired all the time and going to great lengths to do so. And I am a author, podcaster, muralist, artist, and so many things, educator, things in between. We just had a big sale. Actually, I left it up for 2 more days because that's how social media works. The code is today20 because it was supposed to be a 1-day sale, but no one saw it till 3 days later. It's so strange. It's not strange. That's something I actually already know. I don't know why I was so surprised. So catch that by the end of this weekend. We want you, in all our classes, we we really focus on empowerment. So not just connecting to your creative self and having that as an outlet or a career or a means to connect with others, but how it just like feeds your soul and empowering you to share it with others, grow your skill sets and stuff like that. So yeah, it's honestly, once I started adding the educational element, my artwork just became profoundly more important and meaningful for me. It wasn't just like, it was meaningful in the sense of like I was making it like the need to create. Like I've always felt that need to create. However, once I started empowering others to do it, it became even more purposeful. That's why I love that educational component. I'm pulling it up because I got really inspired, and this is such a weird story. And I honestly feel like the universe or whatever you believe in has your back, and it's like pushing you and giving you little messages and or strengthening you in a season of, if you feel like it's struggle, most of the time when you look back on that, it was meant for you to get building your strength and your energy or whatever, or knowledge, preparing you for the next step, right? So it's so funny. I was like in this huge, here, I want to read you what I wrote because I was very inspired by what I wrote on the plane. Well, Teddy was like, he was entertaining other people on the plane. And I was like, I just need 5 minutes to write this. So yes, I'll tell you the story. This is an Emily Carr quote. And I'll tell you how in this story that I came to find this quote and how funny it was. Okay, I'll just go. Also though, I'll never get this out. Also though, this podcast is so great and you're gonna love it because I went to Victoria and I caught up with creative friends, and I'm so grateful and excited, and everyone needs to do that when they travel, and we'll talk about that more, but I'll get this little thing that I spent time on out. Some of the littlest taught me the most. Some of the apparent biggest were really insignificant. Emily Carr. The day before my vacation, I was packing in a haste that I tend to move in, with 3 boys keeping me in a constant state of scurry. A book on my closet shelf had appeared, almost out of nowhere. Emily Carr's. I have it. Yes, This and That, The Lost Stories of Emily Carr. It's already noted and written in, and it's like, she makes up words, and it's just so great. And okay, so I finally arrive on the stone-laid patio of my vacation just outside of Victoria. I open my book, and the irony of it all hits me. I'm reading this little piece of Emily Carr's life in the place where she resided. Not at all surprised. Shit like this happens on a good old regular. Once you regard the universe as your playmate, nothing at all seems a mere coincidence anymore. So I picked up that book before I left. I don't know how it got there on my shelf. It's so crazy. And I was just like, I'll throw that in. It was my mom's. And I threw it into the front of my suitcase. And like, it's just crazy. And then, yeah, there's so many, I felt so connected to her because I was there and I was reading her words, and it was so, yeah. So, picking up this book before I left, it was like it was meant for me. And admittedly, I was really ready for this vacation, but I seemed to like be unable to let go of the hustle and bustle of attempting to balance motherhood and a creative career. Like I was still in work mode, and it took me a lot of days to come off of that, unfortunately, on a 10-day vacation. And I was blinded constantly by the woulds, coulds, and shoulds, and not able to see what was hitting me right in my steel-plated noggin. No more candy! Until my final days, my mind met up with my body once again, and everything came back into focus, allowing me to see through my rose-colored glasses once more. On my morning run on the 7th day, I stopped to notice the berry bushes that I hadn't noticed the first few times. They were ripe with blackberries. I slowed to a walk every few feet, plucking more fruit with each step, relishing in the sweet treats. And if you chose the right one, it was sweet and juicy and tasted laced with vanilla. But if I wasn't paying attention, I would get barbed and by the branches. What?
Mom, I didn't eat those waters all.
Okay.
I didn't like them.
Okay, don't throw them in the garbage then. Rewarded when paying close attention to a moment,
Mom,
the sweet vanilla bursting in your mouth when you stop, slow down and pay attention. Pluck a good one once it comes off easily. As if that's the way that life was supposed to be, not like right now. And everything is right in the world. If we slow down to breathe, take in what's right in front of us, not behind. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Buddy, pick a new thing. Okay? Thank you. One more time. I'm going to slow down and pay attention to my kids and leave to the forest, to the Blackfoot forest right away. So pluck a good one. It comes off easily, as if it's the way that life was supposed to be, and everything is right in the world. If we slow down to breathe, take in what's right in front of us, not behind, not in the future, both beyond our control, right here, right now, in the this and the that's. Knowing that all the bits and pieces of a day, the most insignificant, and Emily points out, are the most extraordinary.
Mommy.
If you liked that little bit of writing, that's so interrupted by my sweet, sweet Teddy, who always keeps me in the moment of life. So much so that I have struggled to get anything done ever. Yeah? Ooh, that's a good find. All right, let's go. We're going to go to Grandpa's. If you like that little bit of insight in writing, you'll really love my book. Like big time. Okay. It's called Color Me Happy, See Your Everyday Ordinary as Extraordinary. And it's full of insightful little cues where you can reflect and recharge, and it really refocuses your gratitude and your lust for life. And I have 5-star reviews because I have the greatest readers and listeners and people who take my classes and just friends of all time. And I really do count you as a listener, as a friend, so thank you for being here. And I encourage you, and I want you to think about anytime you're going somewhere, is connecting to community if you have the chance to. So I've actually never met these women in person, but I've been talking to them for years. I want you to be brave, and that's a chapter in my book, Be Brave Days, and reach out. And of course you have to have relationships. I'm not telling you to reach out to like someone in a weird, creepy way. We stayed up till almost midnight because, and like it was just so good. And Susan hosted, so we had Susan Salvati, Jessa Dupuis, and Kylie O'Grady. And I definitely want to go back to the West Coast and have like a workshop or something with them, and connect with more artists there because it was so awesome. You'll enjoy this episode a lot. Thanks for being here, and we'll chat with you soon, my friend.
Yeah.
Natural
It
lighting.
doesn't feel like 8:45.
It is natural lighting podcast.
Is it? Yeah,
The
look at
lights
us.
gonna
Cozy
go
and
down, we're gonna be in the
project
dark.
your voices to this, like, at least a little
this
bit,
way.
like, this way and not,
You
like,
can't
over
see
here.
in this?
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's
What? I'll even
well,
steal
you
it
can
for you
see
while we're
me
talking.
snacks on the table.
Yeah. So, yeah, also don't jiggle the table a bunch. There we go. Like that.
Do
See?
not do that.
Welcome to Color Me Happy podcast.
Oh,
I'm your host, Brandi Hofer. Thank you for being here. And, well, not your host tonight, actually. That's Susan. Susan is our host. I'm visiting the island, holidaying, and somehow this fell together in the most beautiful, chaotic way. We all managed to be at the same spot at the same time. Thank you to Susan, who last minute was like, oh, just come to my house. I know all those people already. So it was perfect. We have Susan Salvati, Jessa Dupuis, and Kylie O'Grady here, and me, Brandi, of course, and because you're listening to my podcast. And we're just going to chat. We are meeting over really great food, and I always love coming here. It's like a super, like, just like a taste of, well, the ocean and just like a recharge. Although, to be honest, and I came here and you already know because I complained really hard, hasn't been a recharge so far because I have 3 boys. So, and yeah, but I still like the ocean. And like, what's it like being a creative here? Like, because you came from where I'm from, and we talk about that in our episode, which we'll release after this at some point. But like, what's the difference between living where I'm from in the prairies to here for your like career and your environmental factors and all of that stuff?
Me specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Career-wise, it's probably a bit tougher because I live mid-island, and the age gap there is big. So I have to come into Victoria to like try to sell anything. I get a lot of nice compliments from my older audience in mid-island saying that this is really interesting. So I think if I was still in Edmonton, that would probably be a lot easier. There's a big weird community there, but environmentally, I'm a much happier person here because I hate snow.
Yeah.
That's why I moved. Because I was just like, I'm not living in minus 35 and 6 months of snow for the rest of my life.
Couldn't do it anymore.
Couldn't do it. And before the kids were going into school, that was my deadline. I was like, we have to move. And we moved right into like the huge like housing bubble in 2016. So that was fun. We bought a house like on FaceTime with our realtor, and we got there and we're like, wow, this is small.
Yeah.
And then that's why we ended up moving from West Shore to Cobble Hill. Because you get way more for your buck, like where the alpacas live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's nice. And Susan, you've lived here.
I've lived here most of my life. I was up on the coast in Prince Rupert until my teen years. But yeah, Victoria is, well, I think that it's, of course, I don't know, people say that Victoria has a really strong creative community. I don't know if that's true. I know it's true for the writing community. And so that's been really great for me to fall into, and people have been really generous in terms of teaching, and so I don't really have something else to compare to. Like, I've not lived in, I've not experienced the Canadian winter, or that, so.
Well, I think creative community is really important, and I think like if you look at, I don't know where you'd find this information, but there are more artists and creatives per capita here than, like, I would say I'm a real dead zone. Not saying anything against my community. They are absolutely supportive, even if they don't always understand what I'm talking about. And we've grown exponentially in, like, film and photography, but, like, yeah, definitely I have not heard of a writer's group or anything, like, in my area, but I think those things are just slowly changing. But we're all supportive, which I think is maybe the difference, is like there's like a little bit more funding opportunities or wherever because it's less competitive, right? But in the sense of like seeing, whenever we talked, like you guys, you knew a whole bunch of people, like you knew everyone who I was talking about who wanted to meet with tonight, or like, oh, that's that artist on your wall, or you know what I mean?
Well, especially this year, I
Really
don't know
tapped
if
in.
you, Jess, if you feel the same way, but it's like this event's happening and that event's, it just feels like there are all of these arts events.
We're finally out of pandemic.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
probably.
It's
that's
like
what it
everyone's
is.
like, let's do this.
Yeah, let's party.
Let's go.
So
I mean,
it's
we've
nice.
made a community here. Like we've just, so now you have to be in our little road group.
Yeah.
And
So
now we're going to
Kylie,
be sucked in.
Well, this is what I've been looking for on the island. I mean, I'm here 4 years now, and I was born and raised in Squamish, which is the mainland. It's just north of Vancouver. It's kind of blown up the population there. But I was on my way moving back to Europe, where I lived 20 years ago. And then, love brought me to the island.
you look very
You know.
European,
Uh,
by the way.
maybe I am. I'm taking a 23andMe this week.
There you go.
Send it off
You're gonna
for the
find
sea.
out.
I'm going to find out. Yeah, so this is amazing because I don't really know all the markets and the stuff, and I have like my I don't know, your collectors, right? That I've been selling work for 20 years. I lived in New York. I've lived in Europe. So this felt very sleepy, but I think it was a much needed. I think every
Just
artist
come to
kind
where I
of needs
live.
a.
You'll be like, oh.
Well, I'm on the end where it's like it's very quiet. Like Deep Cove is, there's like no kids on the block really. Like it's not. It's an older community, but yeah, right. Like, but it's been
Seniors
amazing.
and alpacas. That's why.
Yeah.
And a waterfall.
I mean, I've met some artists and stuff, but it's more like I kind of had to push myself out of my comfort zone to go like on the World Wide Web
Yeah.
to find people.
But
right?
it's,
It's
worked.
Yeah,
That's how
it's
we all
totally
met.
worked. Like
Right?
it's
That's
been
right.
really cool, and now like this is in real life.
And then-
Which
This
is
is
so
so
nice.
And you know what?
It's so nice.
And I feel very
People-
fangirl.
Yeah, like people should take that totally like as your cue to message or find out where, if you're in an art group, like the art queen's always like, I'm going here, where are their queens, where are their
Yeah.
like anytime you're going somewhere, just try to figure out, like it was very weird how it actually all of a sudden right before I come here, like a couple months or whatever, or a week, and Susan's like, oh, come here, and I was like, why? Like I'm not even sure why we messaged last week.
Well,
Right?
I can't even remember. I know
Yeah.
last year I missed you, and then I saw that you were coming back, and I just said, "What? Let's have a coffee." I think. or
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
I was like, well, I'm trying to meet all these people. And we had like podcasted, and you Instagram phoned me about my book or something, and then I found out you all lived here, and I was like, we definitely need to like do something. And we were talking about this before we started recording, which I hate because you always miss the good stuff. But we were talking about how I went to New York, and how I got to meet like Kat and Alicia, and from Create magazine, and the Art Queens and PXP Contemporary, and Victoria who founded Visionary Art Collective. And like you just feel like even though you've known them online for 5 to 7 years, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm just actually meeting with my friends, and this is like.
Yes.
But also, people ask you if you've met them in person before.
Yes.
And you're like, no, actually, we haven't. But this will be fine. I know it.
Don't worry.
just like
So,
finding.
My husband's like, where are you going exactly? I'm like, over like on that dot on that side of the island. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And he will definitely call to make
Oh,
sure.
just
He's
to
like,
find out.
it's
He's
late.
like, okay, it's
Are
almost
you okay? Did you make
How much
it? Like,
fun are you having?
be careful as you're driving. I was like,
It's
okay.
15 minutes away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're like, we're okay, honey.
Yeah,
Fine.
but I think the online world has made that like the coolest part of connecting. Like, I encourage everyone to message people that they want to meet. Well, not that's stalkery.
Yeah. My partner's weirded
You know
out
what
by
I mean?
it too.
You know what I mean? Like if you're in a group and you've gotten to know people, like I'm not saying out of the blue do that. Just like, you know, you were on my podcast and we figured out that you were from where I'm from around, and then it was a good connection, and like, you
And
know
we
what I mean?
chatted.
Susan and I have been chatting for a long time, so definitely like I felt safe. Like Yeah, Susan, did we meet through my call for arts?
Yeah,
Yes,
you were in
actually.
that.
That was
Susan
the
always
first-
sold out
the-
her work on my.
The first.
You were the only one who sold out work every time. It's
the-
crazy.
You had the
Not
two
crazy.
the 2 online shows. And
Yeah.
Then,
And then I gave up because it was so hard.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. But
I'll do it again.
I do
I'm doing it
appreciate
again,
that
but
experience.
in partnership.
Right.
In partnership with a real gallery show, which I feel like is a fair exchange for a call for art. I didn't feel like an online exhibition was quite like as far as just exposure to a new collector base, which is good for all the groups, but I felt like they should have more. And so like we're doing a bursary and a real exhibition in Europe, so I feel like that's a greater opportunity for massive amounts of people to apply for something, right? So I'm working on that harder for the.
Is it?
Yeah, well, it has been for a long time. So we just have to like figure out when it is. February 2024, I think. So, but there were so many things. Ish. There were so many like.
You have to add the ish, and then you have some.
There is the mural thing I'm doing right now for Truth and Reconciliation. It's such a big project that I've been working on for 2 years.
Right,
It was
isn't
like
that
mind-blowing.
October
I don't even
2nd?
know how
it
you
was
did that.
all
Like
in,
How did you
all
do it that
encompassing.
fast?
just a plan to do it that
Crazy.
fast, and I said I could, and I did it.
Do it.
Oh, I did.
That's the best.
It was
challenge.
amazing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just.
I was in awe every day
Same.
watching. I was just right.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I had a good
I-
team,
Yeah,
like
wow.
a good team, like color blocking in, which and like that line needs to
Which
be
is sort of your production.
more swooshy, and they were like, "Fuck me,"
Make it
and
more
she's like,
swooshy,
"What does
please."
swooshy mean?" And I'm like,
Brandi, if you're just
this.
paying us in beer and pizza,
Yeah.
you're gonna get what you get.
yeah. So it was like again a lot of the right people falling into the right place at the right time, but like that required all of me because I helped with and still am helping with fundraising, and we have a meeting when I get back on. We're having a full ceremony, so that includes
Oh,
like
wow.
this all requires protocol,
Like a
right?
proper
Like very
smudging
yeah.
and
We
everything.
smudged every morning
Yeah.
before we started. We had an
Nice.
elder come and smudge, and so the big ceremony will have a feast and drumming and
Wow.
dancing,
That's
and so
amazing,
like this
though.
is not
Wow.
just like this is not your typical mural on a side of a building. This
Yeah.
means so much to our community and surrounding area.
that's
It was
awesome.
breaking invisible borders
Mhm.
that have been there since the early 1900s. So
And the fact that it's on a health building.
Yeah.
that's extremely
big time
important.
mental it fits their mental health initiative. It's called Project Sunrise. So yeah, it was a partnership with Lloydminster Region Health Foundation from the get-go, and it originally started from just me being like, oh, let's make our downtown more beautiful, let's make your building better because it's gray and so old, and like from that it grew. It was like, what about Truth and Reconciliation? I was like, I can't. And a lot of people who listen to the podcast have heard this story, but it's just like, I can't do that alone. So then I sat with that for a few months, and it was really hard. Really hard. And then I'm like, and then Stephanie, the CEO, said, this can't be the hill that you die on. Let's just figure it out. And then I got really inspired by my friend who ended up partnering with me on it, Randy Noble. And she photographed Lloydminster's first powwow. Like, there's tons in the surrounding area, but there was never one in Lloydminster. And then I saw these women dance, and the dancing and the children, and I was like, those are the ones. And I was like, would you like to paint a mural? She's like, I've never painted a mural, and I'm very afraid of heights. And I'm like, it'll mean,
Like, you get a big roller.
I'm like, it means more than we know. Like, this means much more than
Yes.
either of us can see or say. And she's like, sure. I'm like, okay. And then I had never driven a scissor lift or a boom either. So we all got certified, and
Learning
I'm a
curve.
fucking boss now. I like felt very
Now you're
good.
like murals.
25
Come on.
feet in the air.
Amazing.
Yeah, murals, like, bring murals on. I'm so addicted. I messaged Kevin Lido right after, and I was like, I get why you do this. It's such a high. And, like, people, the excitement, and,
Yeah,
like,
literally.
like, it is, like, I crashed. We both crashed. Actually, Randy's boss, because she works for, I'll just shout out Red Bicycle Communications. They sponsor our podcast. She works there, and they like sent me a picture of Randy on the floor, just like defeated. And she's like, how do we fix her? I was like, just hook up Starbucks matcha to her IV and keep her going. We literally lived off those matcha deliveries. Anyway, yeah, so honestly, I manifested that one really hard. I want to make a new episode about manifesting in particular because I didn't worry about anything else, but just in my garage, this is how low grade this manifestation is. It's not like I sat in a fancy place which I could. I have access to my.
This is proof that there's no such thing as low grade.
My sister owns a yoga studio, and I could go there more often.
No.
It's beautiful
Hiding in your car
and
doing that
manifest.
is better.
No, I would be on my. It's a bike that's older than me. It's a stationary bike that's from 1983, and I bike on it.
Can you tell me you have leg warmers on?
Yeah, leg warmer. It's in my garage, and I stare out. There's 3 windows, and the light bounces off it in my face. So all I imagined was that building, and I can still see it because I manifested it for years. Is that building with light and energy bouncing off of it? That's all I focused on, was the energy it would provide for my community and surrounding area, and what that meant. And that was it. Of course, hard work and meetings came after. But I was if I just keep focusing on how important this is, that's all I need to know.
The steps will appear.
Yeah, it's just every day, tiny little ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep talking about my new artist, which we should find a name tonight, because I feel there's good energy for my artist retreat center. I'm I should talk about it more because there'll be more element than there needs to be a cold plunge and a sauna and. Because people will have good ideas.
They need
And
a hot tub too, though.
a hot tub.
Hot tub, cold plunge, sauna.
Yeah,
On a cycle.
definitely. In the
And the
room
cold
filled
plunge
with plants.
Cannot be in the snow. That is unacceptable.
No, I know.
Just so you know. I'm doing that right now.
No.
I will not
It's-
attend that.
I will not attend that.
Beside the fire and the crackling campfire with the flannel
Yes.
jackets.
Yeah, the lumberjack.
There will be
plaid.
nugs of hot
Yeah.
chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
I actually live in those wool socks with the red band around the top.
That you make monkey sock
Yeah.
puppets out
Yeah.
of.
I am a true Canadian and I rock those. Those are the only socks I wear.
Those are the
This
best
is
I even
ones.
sometimes
though.
run in them.
Prairie Canadian.
I'm a true prairie Canadian. Yeah, for sure.
Can't
Well,
do
my
that.
feet are so cold. The wool socks that's all. You can buy them up in northern Saskatchewan. Now Amazon carries them, but
Have you talked about your vision for the retreat center yet much?
only the ones. Was it yesterday? Susan's an avid listener. Was it yesterday's or the day before?
You did talk a little.
Yeah, I did. I was finally, I'll just say it. This is what I want to do. Start speaking it out loud. And it might happen sooner than I think. I had to go back on my manifestation because I was on my dad's land and I've been dreaming about it and it's this. And then I was but my dad can't die for this to happen. Let's just put that in the, I don't want to inherit the land. I want him to see it happening.
Nice.
And yeah, because I had to
Because
fit,
to
I
be
had
fair,
to, I had to tweak it after I
You
was
can tweak the
oh, my
vision.
dad's sick.
Yeah.
So I just tweaked that.
Tweak
I
it.
wanted to
Yeah.
see it starting.
But
To
also
be
because
there.
That's gonna be would he would give you your inheritance early if you were
My dad does not have an inheritance for me.
The land is though.
But the land,
That's
yes,
what I,
the
sorry,
land
that's
could
what I
be.
mean. He would grant you that
My
early
dad.
if you were
Yeah,
hey Dad, can I just start now?
yeah.
He
No,
would
he
say
would.
no.
No, he would totally.
So,
That's
there
he
you go.
is
He doesn't need to
a
be gone for it to
creative,
start.
visionary.
Maybe you're saying a musician.
He loves music. I don't know how big of a musician category he falls into, but he loves to sing and play guitar.
That counts.
It does.
100%.
But it was around us as children, and he would he'd be blown away.
So
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's
You have your inheritance already. You just
Yeah.
have to.
well,
find
like we
those
said, we've
partners
started
to start
cleaning
it.
it up.
There you go.
We started cleaning it up, getting ready, and I'm where does the road go anyway?
Right?
Yeah.
Where do the utilities come in?
Yeah, yeah. Start digging out stuff with a shovel, just week by week, day by day.
Is that call before you dig? Get your little orange flags.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't hit me.
How many months of the year is the land soft enough to dig?
Yeah, I think all
Like,
year. I think they
is
do dig.
I'm picturing
pretty much build all
it
the
like
time.
so cold.
They build. It is fucking cold.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it's
picturing it like rock
it's
hard
not-
land,
But
like
it's
that
not
you can't.
rock hard island.
No.
Yeah,
It's
You
like-
gotta blast to
yeah,
build here
Yeah.
yeah.
No, there's no blasting, but heavy machinery. For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
for cold
yeah.
tundra.
But let's talk about you. I can talk about my dreams nonstop. Yeah. So Susan, you do markets here regularly, right? Like,
No,
or just certain ones.
Well, I live in a Fernwood, which is a really creative community. We have one that we have once a year. Here I've been in that market a few times, and once in an event in Victoria, the citywide one, which is called what is it called, Jessa?
The Art Gallery of Greater Victoria's
Painton, yes.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I've just been trying to make connections online as best I can with people. That's one of the tricks, right, that I'm finding, like all of us, I guess, is how do you make those connections? And it seems to be the best way is in person. So tomorrow I'm going to do a little market. So we'll see how that goes.
For like art gaining collectors.
Yeah.
No,
So
the physicality of it.
Pardon me?
Bastion Square?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the physicality, like having the conversations and the connections. I don't see, it does happen on occasion through online sales for me, but it's more difficult for sure.
Yeah. What's her face? Dina Brodsky.
Dana. Is it
Dina.
Dina?
No, Dina.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, so she does her online courses or whatever for social media. That's her pudding for sure. She said that's how the biggest thing for artists, and her advice is to say it's for sale online. Like, this is for sale.
Yeah.
This is for sale. She's like, fuck the shopping thing connected with Facebook. She's like, no one's going to just click on a button and buy your art. And it's so true. Not one person has ever clicked on like the shopping unless it's like a print sale or something for me. But like, they want to talk to you. So just message me. This is for sale. Message me about it.
You put the price.
I do.
Yeah,
I
and
know
put the
that
price.
some artists are like,
No.
put the price.
I
What's the
do.
price?
But put
Yeah.
the price, because then people are like, I love this, but I can't afford it. Or I love this and I can afford it.
Yeah.
They can
It
figure
takes
it
a
out.
lot of
Yeah.
communication
Because
out
people
of
are
there.
too shy to
They are.
email to be like, how much is it? Because they're worried if it's too much, then they have to like make an
Such
excuse,
good advice.
right?
Yeah.
So, but I know there's like some people argue, like, don't, that's tacky. But I'm like, who cares? Like,
That's one of
when
those
I
old
see
art
some-
world things
It
that
is,
that
totally.
have stuck with people, and it's really, there's nothing wrong
Who
with it at
cares?
all.
like if you're like, here are these socks I made and they're $17. People are like, cool, I want those socks.
Yeah.
And if it's a piece of art, you're like, oh, don't say the price.
Or you're being all
Well,
weird
makes
about
no
it.
sense.
I've had collectors where they're like, or they've wanted to be a collector for ages.
Yeah.
And they were too scared to ask. And then they're like, oh, that piece sold. Oh, that was my favorite one. What did it sell for? It's way too expensive. I wouldn't afford it. And then I
And
tell
then
them, and
they're
they're
so
like,
sad.
what?
Yeah.
It sold for, like, I could have done that.
I
So
could've
it's
done
like, you should.
So consensus
really.
is put prices on
100%.
your. Yeah.
I'm guilty of not.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that I've sold enough stuff, like, and heard it enough times from people, I'm like, okay,
I
you
will
know what?
say, though, I've been putting prices for the last like year and a bit, and people will still DM me and be like, "I want this. How much is it? Like, can you please?"
Though they're
read?"
so lazy.
Right? And I'm like, well, it is stated in the first line of the post. It says available, $425.
Yeah.
But it's this much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just
So-
do the extra work.
I
But if
don't
you're
know.
gonna buy this, then I'll tell you the price.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't. It's
That's
interesting. It's
one-
interesting.
That's one of the things
That's one
that
thing we talk about in our group.
we do. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the other thing that I find, I'm pretty new to selling. It's only been
You are
3 years.
not.
Well, no, it's been about 3 years. Like it's.
So
She's
you're
very
established.
Shy. She's shy to sell,
Pardon me, I'm a seller.
but she
I-
can sell.
I can't.
Well, you sold
But you
all
just
your
said she
every
sold out
every
everything.
every. We would have to restock Susan's every time. My cousin moved out here, and she was like, "I'm gonna buy up Susan's
Oh, yeah,
stuff
she did buy that,
because
didn't
she doesn't know what she's worth yet."
And to be fair, that's the best time to get art.
Yeah,
Where you're like,
it is.
you,
I know.
I'll take that
I know
for
it.
this very underpriced piece.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're
Well,
like, "Put it on my wall."
And that's what I was going to say is that's one thing that I'm struggling so much with is stepping into pricing. And if you have any advice about that, that is so hard because I don't want to undercut my other artist friends, you know, and yet it's like people whenever, you know, it's like, you like this, you want it for your wall, here, I'll give it to you.
I know.
I went through all the
It's
years
so
of that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
easy
and
to-
hating my work like immediately when it was done, going, oh, you actually like it? No, here, just take it, get it out of my house, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've literally walked into people's homes and gone, oh, that's really cool. And they're like, yeah.
But then also,
and then they're like, you did that.
I went
Why-
through-
I have actually like forgotten and
yeah,
done that. Like,
yeah. No, you can't do that.
No,
you can't
I don't
do that.
recommend that. That was in my
I went
20s.
through a year of selling like more than 130 art pieces, and I still made no fucking money. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
No, you're not
Yeah.
a machine.
I can't do this anymore. I don't want to. I hate making portraits, which I love portraits,
Right.
and so
But you're
that
talking
killed it for
commission.
me.
Well, why?
No, it was
why-
originals.
Why were you
exhibition.
not able to make money from that?
I made money, my best year ever. I didn't make enough money, in my opinion. And I'll just talk about money right now because I'm listening to a book and she's like, women need to start talking about money or no one's going to grow.
Right.
Because men talk about money privately all the time, like in their groups
Right.
all the time.
Mhm.
It's like not hush hush or anything. It's nothing to be ashamed about. So I think I made $30,000, which was my best year ever.
Well, that's not okay.
No, that was not okay for selling
for
as
how
much
you
as
were working
no,
as hard as you
exactly.
were.
And so I restructured and increased my commission. Like I increased my artwork commissions for sure. And then instead of like 6 a month, I was doing one or
For
two.
close to the same price.
Yeah, close to the
Nice,
same
there
price.
you go.
That was one move. And then I started writing a book because I couldn't paint anymore. And not that books make you a bunch of fucking money. I just had to.
It's a great
I
book.
had to. It is a great.
Because
Thank
you
you. It
burnt
is a
out
great
from
book.
doing
I was burnt.
portraits?
I was so burnt out.
You
I
need a
like couldn't
break.
do it anymore. Like, and I had already, and I had a Thrive group too. I know you originally met through Thrive, but my Thrive group. I remember complaining to them about like I couldn't paint and that was like 2 years prior to that big year of art making. So I was like manufacturing portraits basically and like staying up. I was full parenthood
Well, and
too.
your kid, I was gonna say
Oh,
your,
yeah.
your boys were
I
all
had
like
2
super
kids.
little.
Yeah, and then I had 3, and then I was like, this is like,
And
This
then
is
it has
too
3.
much.
yeah, it was way too much. And then then I started this podcast, the book, doing classes, and like I started murals, which increased my net profits by 394%, like from the year before that 130 year. And yeah, I started incorporating murals and stuff. And it's just like, you cannot have one income stream.
True.
You
have
cannot
to,
have one income stream.
Sometimes
It'll
you
just
have
kill
to-
you.
do some of the things that are less what you want if they're making you money.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like everything
so that you
sucks some
can
of the time.
buy more supplies and do the things you want to do
Yeah.
and push to sell them.
Like I haven't even been thinking about selling art at all for a while now.
Well, but if you like doing the murals though, that's pretty awesome.
I really like doing the murals when when they're like really something I care about, which I think is an important
and if
aspect.
it's not a committee of 7 people,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
committees are tough to work with.
Yeah, I did work with a board and there was a lot of red tape and stuff, but they were a good board and like it was for the right reasons, keeping me on
Yeah.
track. Just focus for like 2 seconds.
And everyone
Yeah.
just hold your opinion.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
the problem with boards.
yeah, it's a lot of politics and stuff like that, but
But this particular mural had so much
doing
depth
things that
as
make
well,
your heart
right?
sing, I
Right.
think really is what we're saying. Like
Oh, most definitely.
where your intuition is
It
pulling
has
you.
to be about something bigger than you.
Yeah.
Is kind of what like the conclusion I'm coming to lately. And I heard that from a golfer. It was like
There you go.
it was like he was
Nice.
being interviewed and he was like, well, I can't remember who it was. I have golfers in the house.
Yeah.
But you know, he was like, my mom told me like if I'm gonna keep doing this, it's got to be about something bigger than me. So he was like doing like charities and
Philanthropy,
know really doing it for a bigger reason than just being the best golfer, right? Like or the best artist or whatever it is. You had so much depth and reason behind that mural.
I think
It's more
shifting
than-
from an independent
It's
kind
more.
of isolated, I make this and I sell this, but like there's
Yeah.
more of a why to. I still love creating, but like for
your
for me-
community grows.
yeah.
In like so many ways.
Yeah.
You know, your literal community that you live in, right?
Mhm.
Like, and then there's the art community, which is just, it's inspiring. I mean, I did a mural, like I was watching you and I was like, shit, like Brandi, you're inspiring. Like I
Oh,
went
you're
for that and I was like, yeah, this fucking bathroom is so boring. Like I had interest in this other, like I had interest in one of my art pieces and I was like, I think this is gonna sell and I really like this one. So I'm just gonna make it bigger. Brandi can do it. I can do it. And like I was like, I'm gonna like watch her like mural thing and get all these tips and everything. And then I was listening to your podcast after. I was like, okay, I gotta find a sealant for a mural in a bathroom. I
No,
need to
you
talk
can
to
just
about
use
that.
Oh shit!
But-
My camera went off. How long
yeah.
was that black before we noticed? That's okay. We still had sound, just no video.
But
Susan, you're gonna want to wash this napkin
Okay.
after, cause I sweat when I get nervous, and so I'm not nervous. I
But
just
also
like
these chairs are nice.
these
They're
are not
like
breathing
not the ones
chairs.
You want to have shorts on.
No, but every podcast or like Zoom meeting, I get up and I'm like soaked, and I'm like, why? That was like my grandma. Why?
It's
am I
just
so-
like I feel
Yeah.
like that when I teach or
I
present.
drip when I teach.
It's just like your whole body is like jacked up.
So
Yeah.
much
Even though
Something.
you feel okay to do it,
yeah,
your body's doing a different response.
it is.
It's like the
Your
sub-
body knows what's
yeah, the
actually really
subconscious
happening.
like
Yeah. It's a
fight or flight
weird-
response while you're like everything's fine. We're
Yeah.
having fun. We're doing
God,
this.
driving.
You
her
just need
out
to
is
use
like-
varnish. Like you can
Okay.
just use sorry, back to like a
Yeah.
material question. For anything mural wise in a bathroom like high splash area, you can just use like a typical like Liquitex
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Liquitex,
hot gloss.
or
varnish.
like even the
Well,
hardware
that's what you
store
were talking
has
about with
sealants.
Ashley.
Oh yeah, Ashley Cassens.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting better with names. It's because it's the women I care about.
I was gonna call her Cairns, like the place in Australia. I don't know, Ashley.
Oh, I
Like,
think
I
that's
remembered that.
Cairns.
My sister's name is Ashley. If I didn't remember that would be bad. But yeah, you guys were talking about it, and yeah, but I get it when you were saying like the high about a mural, like it. I've never painted so fast in my life. I was like, I can do that. Like,
So did you actually do this on your wall?
yeah, I did. Like, I did the bathroom
Oh,
mural.
you have to send some pics.
And
Because I've been debating like doing a big face in my bathroom for a while.
oh
Like, I
yeah, like
do
it's
that.
it's
You
like
can always paint over
a
it.
big
Yeah,
booby
just paint.
that my 2-year-old thinks is great. Boobies, mama, boobies.
Booby.
Like, yeah,
Perfect.
he loves that, and it's like,
Love it.
yeah, it's just like big set of lips and like one booby.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with all the flowers.
Yes, you
it's,
sent
like,
it to
part
me already.
metallic
Thank
and
you.
stuff,
I love
and,
it.
like,
Yes.
yeah, and it's like pink and yellow. Like I'm all in black today.
That's
Like,
your
but
artist uniform.
But
Yeah,
I've just been trying
exactly.
to embrace color. I've hated pink my whole life, and yellow is like my most loathed color. Like, I'm an artist and I hate color. Like, go figure.
Me too.
Anyways, so yeah, I just painted this. I was like, okay, let's go. It's
Because you can
pink
always
and
paint
yellow.
over it. It's
I went
like
to
a
Home
haircut.
Hardware and
It's
bought
just
like
pink,
pink,
right?
yellow,
Yeah.
and like a pale
That's the
neon
thing
green.
about like murals. It kind of brings something new out in you that is unexpected because you're
Yeah.
limited by the palette of the hardware store or what comes
Yeah.
in interior exterior paints and like their opacity, etc. Like you want to pick the like in some brands like the ones that end in 0 or 4 and you can't have a 3, you know, because like you'll end up doing extra coats, and the last thing you want to do on 3,000 square feet is an extra fucking coat or 3,
Yeah.
you know. So you have to like choose, and I loved that happy accident part of like I'm like this is better in these different colors I had to choose from the
Yeah.
digital design, which Ashley, when she does hers, she like designs it to the like exact, which isn't really one of my creative processes. So my
I didn't
customers
do
have
any
to like
projection. I was like freehand.
you have to get the right like client. You have to know like are they gonna flip their lid if this is a little bit different from what we originally.
And when you have 7 people on a board,
yeah.
they're going to sign off on what you show them.
Right, which happened, and so the CEO, Steph, she was really great about it. She's like, just gotta make sure that, like, you know, everything's in there. And I was like, no, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm like, it's just, we were limited by paint colors, so the colors changed. And I don't think, actually, most of the people and the people who funded it and the donors, like, they were really set about the meeting. And,
Well,
like,
that's
they
the thing,
barely
right?
looked at, and I did say, like, this is a digital mock-up. Like, this is not the final, because I'm a very, like, intuitive. We had elders coming and drawing us pictures.
Extra
like,
meaningful
yeah.
things.
So, like,
Yeah.
we left room, and then I ended up going for a break before this project. And I love that, like, everything just, you have to trust that it comes together, which is really hard. I've been having a really tough week with trusting, like, I should have rested and I can't, and I've got to try hard to rest. Way harder. I should have rested. This feels good. And I'm so glad we're doing it. But the thing is, I took time to rest before the project, and because I love to eat good food and stuff, so I went to this really good coffee shop in Saskatoon, and it's called Sparrow Coffee, and then I saw the mural on their wall, and I was like, so I went on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I just found that coffee, and look at this mural, it's so cute, and like the stuff you do on Instagram, which is dorky,
This is
but
a
like
different
this
mural.
is how I
This
meet
is-
people, and
okay.
this is how
Yeah.
life happens, like for me, like this is how you get business, this is how you meet people. And then Sparrow Coffee messaged me when I got home, and they're like, that's Stephanie Ma's mural, just so you know. And I was like, great. So, and then I went to her Instagram, and it's like, no personal messages, no. And I was like, how am I supposed to meet Stephanie if, like, she
Did she
says
have a
no?
website?
And then so I tried emailing from her website, but it didn't work. And I was like, fuck, well, I'm Instagram
That sounds
messaging
like an
her.
artist website.
I was like, hey, Stephanie, I have eagle feathers, because her stuff was like birds and like, and she's a tattoo artist. So it was very like that, you know, tattooy black and white look. And I had last minute, the night before I submitted the paint order for that mural, I was like, oh, flowers, red roses, eagle feathers there. Just like right before, I'm like in black and white. And then that weekend I had saw her murals, and I was like, would you come to Lloydminster, and these are the eagle feathers and these are the wild roses, but I bet you could do them better. Like, I can do this. I know
Yeah.
I can. But I know if you do it, it will be even more spectacular. And it was. I was right. My
No way,
intuition
so
was
she-
right. So she
she-
came.
What?
She came. She's like, I've never done an exterior mural. I was like, doesn't matter. No one here has.
Like, here's your paint, honey, and here's your
I'm
brush.
like,
Let's go.
no one. The napkin was stuck to my butt. I just want to make sure we don't lose that again. No one had. And then we had 2 Indigenous mentees who were 15 and 16. And so I just had to have faith in the fact that everyone would pull it off, and it somehow worked. But it worked out. It was like, I went to Saskatoon for a reason.
Yeah.
Saw her work.
Yeah.
She came down, barely hopped on a scissor lift at first. She was like, I can't do it.
So
I was like, oh, you took the training though. I was like, what are we gonna do?
You're in now.
Yeah, I'm like, and then
That's just
she
how it
saw me
works.
go up and down, like priming, because we were behind from rain, and she's like, okay, I think I can. Yeah.
So were those the really big feathers that went around the face?
The feathers and the flowers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So, she
So
was
I
up
had.
there. She was up
Yeah,
high.
I had designed them, and then she like did them way better. Like,
just
because
took
that's
it.
what she does. Like,
Yeah.
she does. If you look at her tattoos, they are beautiful, like flowers and cougars and like immaculate detail, and like when flowers, like when the leaves fall over, the like curl, like
Yeah.
she got it all.
But I think going back to like that, it's about something bigger than you and like,
Doing it alone,
Your,
you shouldn't have to.
your thing, or like,
Yeah.
oh, it's my piece and it's my ego and it's my stuff, and
Letting
it's like
go of that.
letting go of that makes your work excel. Like
Sure.
you know
Way better.
that's a true collaboration because it's for the piece. You know,
That wasn't easy for me,
Like,
by the way.
that's very
Like,
difficult.
Letting
but-
another
Design
artist
it.
come
Yeah.
just
Take
step up
over.
there, and like all I was doing was pouring paint for people for like 4 days. Like that was really, and getting everyone else set up.
Wow.
Like that was a tough, like from doing murals alone to doing it with a team. Like that was a adjustment.
Do it. It's incredible.
I did it, and I was like, it's fine. It's fine. This is good.
But
I had a good
in the
team.
end, it was excellent.
Yeah.
Way better than
Right.
it would have been if I had done it alone.
And that's sort of
1,000
like,
times
I think
better.
you have to think about that, because
Yeah.
I'm a designer as my like career choice, and art as my therapy. But like as a designer, you're working with teams, right? You're working like yourself,
Constantly.
but then you're also working with committees and clients, and you're working with printers and suppliers and installers and all of that kind of thing. And it's sort of that idea of being like, okay, what's the problem? And then there's like a little bit of compromise, but then you work with other people that you've either chosen or that have been recommended, and they are an expert in that like area, like feathers. And then you're like, yeah, okay, that is better. I can admit this is a really good outcome from
Your feathers
letting
are
go a little
way
bit.
fucking better than my feathers.
But then in that,
Right.
you're like able to focus on.
No,
your
I needed to
expertise.
paint the portraits.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
that's
and,
you.
And
That was
and
your
like that's my
amazing
thing.
part.
Yeah.
and I did both in 1 day each.
But also, Brandi, don't
Which
forget,
is
that's crazy. But don't forget also, there's a bigger part of that where you were organizing and facilitating and project managing, and you brought those other things in, which is a skill set all by
It's
itself.
a lot of
Yeah.
hats.
It's a skill set.
Well,
all
the
by
women
itself.
who came and volunteered, they're Home Hardware. They were the paint donor, and they just wanted to be there. Like they loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
And Sarah actually said at the end, she's like, so many times this could have been a really like there could have been like bad moods, bad situation. Like this could have been like, you know, like the scissor lift broke, and like it rained and winded on the nights that we projected, and like we're sitting in the back of a car freezing, and
It's
like
just
she's like,
all
there
the
were so many
things.
times that this could have been bad, but you somehow made it really great.
Yeah,
And
which
that
is-
I was like,
That's awesome.
oh,
People have been too. It's
You
a
know?
very high skill
I was
set.
like, oh my god! But we were
Team
like
leader.
laughing and crying good tears the whole time. Like it was just, it's hard. It's actually been a challenge for me mentally coming off something so good in that happened
You got a
in
bar
my
now.
life. Yeah, I'm like
like,
nothing.
hey,
lives
next team
up-
that joins me.
Nothing's
Yeah.
ever gonna live up to this project. Like
Aw.
ever.
If it
So
does,
coming
the next
off that,
one-
it's challenging.
The next one will just blow your mind if it does.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. We'll just paint my whole eco-friendly residency center. We'll just have all the artists come, and we'll all be
You need to
smiling
invite
and
artists.
working.
Say,
Okay.
hey, you can come for 1 week, like for free, but your labor to pay for it is X. Here's your
We're
wall.
building corn walls together.
Yes, that, and then we'll paint them,
Yeah.
and then you can go home.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's true. Like
I'm
it's
sure you can find more
there
stories to do
when
that.
you let go of ego and doing everything for yourself. I like everything is infinite. I
Yeah.
think.
It
It's
changes
so-
everything. It's
Well, the creative power takes over, right? It's like, oh, this is not even. Who knows where this is coming from?
Can't
it's
even
just like
explain
this
it.
force, and it just starts
Yeah.
spiraling through. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything
think
is
so.
possible. I agree with you.
But also I've found that like with our women groups, like there's really good energy in that. Like
Because we're all happy to be away from our kids. We're like, you know what? It's raining.
I'm glad you said
And
it.
it's windy, and the weather is shit, and this is not, and the thing's broken, but we're not doing bedtime. So
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
we're fine.
Like
Got
tonight,
coffee,
I was like, bye.
not doing bedtime. Like, it could be worse.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
be doing bedtime,
Yeah.
or bath time, or.
I think it's
time.
important that you find, and this is a whole chapter in my book. I was like, I don't care if you love coin collecting. There's a group for you.
yes.
But you gotta find your group of people. And
I didn't really have a group till I moved to the island.
oh really?
No, I didn't, because I was like mostly just being graphic designer for so long.
Were you making
Which is-
art before you?
I was doing a lot of digital collage,
Mm.
and I won a bunch of awards as an illustrator for like digital collage.
Go you.
And then when Lou was diagnosed with type 1, I was like, I need time away from my computer and all of you client-driven people. And then I'm like, well, if I'm on the computer, someone will email me and then I'll just work. So I thought, well, I'll just make like real collage. Like how hard can
Analog it is.
How hard can it be? I took like whatever magazines we had and I locked myself in our little garage studio with my beer and my scissors and whatever and like made ugly shit for weeks and cried while I was doing it.
Oh yeah, that.
I did sometimes I burnt it because I was just like, it's fine, I just feel better now.
That so reminds me of when my kids were little and I'd sign them up for art classes with Andrea and then Andrea Seuss and then she offered mums. It was great. You know, you'd go there to her little studio and be there with like 3 or 4 other moms. And then I got introduced to art journaling and then I was like, just, starting to bawl. I'm like, what is this? What is actually going
Art
on?
therapy? I
Like,
highly
everybody
recommend.
Yeah.
thinks I'm crazy.
Well, I mentor people, moms mostly, just from from years of like, I only posted Instagram pictures of me and my kids on, making stuff. Because that's the stage of life I was in. And so I would mentor them and they'd be like, I'm so obsessed. Like, this is my time and it's all I can think about all day. Like, when am I going to get to work on that?
Yeah, that's what I talk
When-
about all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because we're talking about like having meaning and whatever, but I also often talk the opposite level where I'm like, who gives a fuck what it looks
That's
like?
the show up every
Definitely.
day part.
Yes,
That's the
but
show up every day
That's
for
the
you.
other part.
Right? Like,
yeah.
if you can do it, you can make a sketchbook and you can show no one. You can just
Yeah,
make it
that's-
because you get a timeout and no one can bother you.
Yes.
And you do your thing, and if it's ugly, great. No, who cares? Don't show it to anyone. But I was like, but if it's like your timeout and your art therapy time, then you should do that. And who cares? Like, you don't need to sell it. You don't need to show it. You don't need to like
I think
literally
both
show
are really
anybody.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I started. It was just like, I'm doing something in the garage by myself. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
And then drink my beer and cry and like make things. And then eventually I was like, oh, I think I'm starting to make something that looks cool with my scissors and my paste. And Andrea Seuss, I did a mixed media course because I was like, I need to leave the house now. I'm like, hey, crying in the
Who's
garage.
Andrea Seuss?
Oh,
You
my God.
mentioned
Yeah,
her a
me
lot.
too.
I know,
I was
like,
just
I know
talking
you're
to my
gonna get mad at
girlfriend.
me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, I should know who this is.
S-O-O-S.
I was talking just with my girlfriend when I said,
You were,
I'll
you were
show
doing
you
that.
guys. Right when we were talking, she has an Andrea Seuss piece that she had commissioned. And I was saying, oh yeah, when we caught the flight, I told the kids, because in the
Well, she has
Victoria
something in
Airport,
Victoria,
I was like, oh, that looks familiar.
this one.
And I follow her, so, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is Andrea Seuss. And the kids are like, who? I'm like, oh, on Aaron's wall. They're like, oh, wow. So it was, it's just funny that you guys are bringing her up.
She's a
because
big
5
deal.
minutes before I left
Yeah,
the house
Andrea.
in
Andrea-
frantic manner.
Dennis, when you
Right.
did-
Jenna Cass's work, their work is very similar.
Yeah.
Jenna Cass.
Andrea did our
Mhm.
Thrive group. She was the,
Like the pod leader or something.
the Victoria, the only one, the very first one, and then
I would say she's an incredibly gifted teacher.
yeah, she's awesome.
I'm following her.
Because just to be able to like learn that anything goes and to have the freedom, and it wasn't just a time to create, but like it's okay, whatever comes out is fine.
Yeah, she's the journaling one. She's like,
Right.
write some shit down and then paint
Paint
over
over
it.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a diary. No one can read it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So but that's. I finally was like, hey Eli, I can't keep crying in the garage by myself. I found this, and we were living in West Shore, so it was a quick drive to Poppet, was the
Right.
old place. Which, what is it? Susan, who runs it now?
Suicide.
Right, Susa, yeah. So Poppet was sort of like a fun little area to come create. There's like kids classes and adult classes. Anyways, I randomly found one of like Andrea's mixed media classes online, and it was only doing paper and glue before. But I was like, Eli, I'm gonna take this. It's on Thursdays at this time. Get off work early. And he was like, okay. I was like, it's for my mental health. So it was like 2 hours class or something. Yeah, and I went, and I hated painting because I was afraid of paint, because I didn't know how to color mix unless it was on the computer, which is hilarious. Anyway, so I learned lots there because Andrea was awesome. She's like, who cares? Just slap it on. And if it sucks, do a new piece of paper. And then she also taught me with sketchbooks. She's like, sketchbooks are important. I was like, I don't like sketchbooks. And now I'm like sketchbook obsessed. But she's like, don't start on the first page. Start in the middle. You can't ruin it if you start in the middle. And I was like, oh. So that's what I always do now. I just like open to a random page and start that as my first page. And then you guys like warm
And
up.
then work out from
Because,
there.
yeah, then I go backwards or forwards. It doesn't matter. And I
Yeah.
just fill it up randomly. And that's like freed my
I like
sketchbook fear.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
like that.
Because you get this like nice new sketchbook and you're like,
It's perfect.
and then you do like the first page and you're like, I don't like that, and then you ruined it and you have to like cut it out or something.
Oh no, I literally have sketchbooks that are untouched that are like 25 years old that I bought in Europe. Like, I'm not joking. Like, because they have embroidered covers on them.
Or
and,
like the fancy sides or something.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at
wax
keeping a
paper
sketchbook.
in between. It's like you're like
Oh,
whatever.
that's really
like,
fancy. I'll
shit
take
like
that,
that,
from
you
no.
know,
I'm not
right?
a very good sketchbooker, and I love that I have the sketchbook project
Well,
that
have
I
you-
host two keys for.
For just like 6 weeks in the summer.
Yeah,
Hey, that's
all
like
that my
no, that's
attention
your
span
practice. That's your
attention
sketchbook
span
practice.
will allow.
It's because you're doing big projects all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Like
no,
writing
it is,
books
like,
and
yeah.
doing big murals.
It's like you have to choose what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And no, I do like doing it starting. I like, you know what I like? If I could just keep decorating book covers.
You should do that and then
Yeah.
sell them. I would buy one of your sketchbooks.
Yeah,
know.
I just
Art.
love
beautiful.
doing the covers. Like, I'm just like,
It's a
I'm
mini
just.
mural. An exterior.
I should just
They're
piece of art.
buy
beautiful.
another suitcase and go to a thrift store and get
You
old
should
books
start
from here.
selling
Where's the
those.
old bookstore? I know you all know, like where you get those. You don't want to tell me because you don't want to lose your.
Well, no, it's in Poplar Hill. You gotta drive out. That's
Oh,
why you have
okay.
to come visit me. I'll show
Oh,
you.
the Life magazines are.
No, that's in Chemainus.
I got a whole bunch in Halifax, and then I gave them like as gifts, and I was like, "Fuck, I want those back now!" Like all those Life magazines, like signed 1942, and I was just like, ah. I have the one of the woman fishing that I gave my mom, so I framed that. But yeah, no, I love doing. Yeah, I should do more. I just
So
love
how do you
covers.
How do you? Excuse me. How do you weave your creativity in on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I
When you do
haven't.
these major projects
Teddy
and-
has thrown a real wrench into things because he's so energetic that like I would be in the studio every day, and I did that up until he could like probably ride his bike, and now it's like so at night sometimes. But I'm like, and I tell people all the time, like, do it when your kids sleep. When you're in that stage of early, like I showed up every day. But then I didn't have the podcast, and I didn't have all those other things
Oh my
going on.
God.
Like I was just creating.
You posted. I don't know how many people I showed like the videos of like when you let them like with their paint trucks go through all the piles of paint. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's so
how
cute.
how did
I
you
miss
do-
it.
How did you do that though? Like how did you completely abandon yourself to like be happy during all that mess making? I guess.
Well,
it helps
yeah, I
me.
was
How
locked
long did
inside
bath
with them.
time take?
I was locked
Yeah,
inside.
I was
Go
locked
on.
inside. Like I was at home full time
So you're like, what else
parenting.
am I
So
gonna
this
do?
is like, yeah, it was like I would just put all the canvas down on the floor, and that would be the underpaintings, and they just like I'll probably still do it with Teddy like once in a while, but I just like I'm not producing as much art right now because I have a fuckload of art that I need to sell, and maybe I shouldn't think about that. Maybe I should just say fuck it and just keep making more. Like
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
what
know,
I do.
like
Yeah.
really, but
Yeah.
like.
Jesse, you have so much.
I got some. I just,
so much.
but like I said, I'm making it out of that like art therapy side.
Well,
Right.
I do that too. Like it is
Like, I'm
I'll
like-
never stop making it.
Mom's
So
going
maybe I
downstairs
just
to
have
the art
to
cave.
not worry about it anymore.
Don't bother me. Your father is in the house. Like I don't care what you can't find. I don't care if you need a snack.
Yeah.
Like I'm having a time
Talk to
out.
him about it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like literally my son was in front of his dad and came across the room and he's like, "Mom, undo my buttons." I was like, "Ask your dad. You were right beside him over
But
there."
Mom, you're better at
He
it.
has your t-shirt in his hand. And you came all the way over here. And yeah,
How
they're
old is Teddy now?
hilarious. Teddy, that was Finn, but Teddy's 3. So he'll turn 4 soon. I think once we hit kindergarten for him, then I'll get that like studio freedom because
Be like
it feels like
dancing.
everything is rushed, and I don't want my art to feel so fucking rushed anymore. Like,
Although my kids both went to school finally, and I'm like 5.5 hours a day. It goes by so.
it does
fast.
go by fast. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Like, how come school's not longer? Like when we went to school, wasn't it like 8 to 3? Wasn't it?
I don't
Because my
think
kids
so.
go to school
No.
8:30 to 2 o'clock.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the time I
Oh,
What
drive,
school did you
yeah,
pick?
yeah. What's
I don't know, like SD 79
Yeah.
That's short.
Cobble Hill. Right?
No, Teddy's
Really?
not that same. I don't have like alone
Ours
time with
are
Teddy.
like-
I had alone time with
Really?
Finn. I had alone time with Gus. Because
Yeah. No?
Finn was really good with alone time. In fact, I wrote my book while Finn had his alone time and Teddy would sleep. Teddy's, just very energetic. Like having him in
Was
the
he a
studio.
good sleeper at least?
Any of them?
No,
Kind
Teddy
of,
in
not
particular.
really. Teddy, he would have 3 hour, once he got
Good-
down to
good
one nap, he would have 3 hour naps. And
And then he
that's
had
how I
till
wrote the
11?
book. But that's the thing,
Who's
I
the
was so
oldest,
sick of
Finn?
painting. No, Gus, Finn, Teddy.
And who's the artist? There's one that's more artsy.
Yeah, Finn's like a true like living, breathing artist, like more than me, I would say. Like paint on every piece of his everything, and like he fills 2 sketchbooks every summer, and like with random shit. Like I don't even. It's not even like. It's like Basquiat. It all looks like that. And his collection that he made, and it sucks that we made it during COVID,
I
is
love
a
that collection.
spectacular
Was
collection.
that the geometric
The
shapes?
geometrics.
I need to go pick up the pieces from the gallery in
It's so
Regina and
beautiful.
re-exhibit because it's like comes off the wall this far in these gorgeous frames that we hand built
Yeah.
and hand
Those
stained,
looked awesome.
and like it's all
Wow.
epoxy covered, and they fit into like sweet shapes, and
Yeah.
it just needs
Beautiful.
to be because no one saw it.
Well, yeah, because no one
saw
going
it.
anywhere.
No, like actually no, it was in Regina, Saskatchewan, and it just never got seen, and
Well,
so.
That
Time for
sucks.
another showing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm just, waiting for that, the right, bank owner and be like, Gord,
Just be like, hey, this is.
let's
Say
have a
Finn's
synergy
Gord.
party
Yeah.
in
It's for
they.
Finn.
No, they're really supportive.
People love kid artists.
Yeah.
Just do that.
No, I should just figure it out. I should just do it. Do it again. It's actually not hard to figure out your own exhibitions. If you want to exhibit, I've just been really busy with the one big thing and many more things. But like if you want a chance to exhibit your work, I once exhibited in a Chinese food restaurant. Like it was like I think it's probably called that. Like it was like you can exhibit anywhere and you just have to ask and they say
I
no,
was gonna
okay,
say,
I'll
Like you were saying earlier.
yeah,
You just have to ask.
you just ask, and the worst thing,
It's the worst
do
thing
it on
to
a Be
know.
Brave Day. Also, a chapter in my book. The days where you're like, the sun is shining out my ass today, and like, yeah,
Or
I
you
can do
want it to
anything.
be.
Yeah, just
Maybe.
you ask for it. That's how every one of my opportunities have come up. The mural, I asked someone to do that mural.
Mhm.
That's where it started. And New York, I asked to go to New York. Like everything comes from asking.
You have to take the steps.
Yeah.
Like you just throw it out there. There's no other way to do
The
it.
no
Like,
means
the-
it wasn't meant for you.
January
Move on.
1st, I had my own exhibit in Sydney, in their like community art. It's like a double wide trailer. I think it was a garage at one point,
Oh,
and then it was
I
a
know the
restaurant at another point. It's right on the seawall.
Yes.
The artsy community art gallery, and you can rent this
It
space.
turns out anything can be an art
and-
gallery as well.
Right?
Why
So,
not?
and it's right beside a children's park. You're kind of just like, okay, so this is a gallery, like, all right, and you can rent it if you're
Cool.
like a member of the artsy community. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, and like the price was amazing. You run the show, like they give
And
you
you
the
sit it.
keys, and you man the place for a week, and you do your setup and you do your takedown and greet people for a week. January 1st, I went, no, I told myself, like last year in June, I said, I'm going to have a solo exhibit in this place where nobody knows me. I have no contacts. I have no milieu of any other artists. I'm going to do it. And like January 1st, I was like, okay, well, this is the year. And there were 3 weeks left for this whole year. So I was like, oh shit, okay, let's just find like the one that gives me the most time because I don't have a body of work for a show. And you kind of need that if you're going to have an art show.
Or an idea of what you're gonna be.
Or an idea.
And then
And,
a lot
you
of
know,
coffee.
Yeah, and then to top it off, my work is all resin, so it's like, and I have 3 kids half the time, because I have 2 bonus kids. They're 8 and 10, and, Neville's 2, so you're trying to, like,
Oh,
do collage and, like, do resin and whatever. But, yeah, so I took March 24th was the opening day. That was the farthest week away that was available. And it actually turned out that was like the day that my gramps passed away. Like, it was the anniversary, not the day he passed away. But I was like, oh, okay, he's here. You know, it's all the little signs, right? Like, you know, it was January 1st. So it was like, okay, let's do this. And I didn't even think about it and went, okay, here we go. But you just got to put yourself out there. Like, okay, like, I'm terrible with the internet and I'm terrible with, like, filling out forums and everything else, but I don't care. I'm just going to try. Right? Like, just get out of your own way.
Well,
all those cliche things. Just insert that sentence there.
Yeah.
Well, I think you did that, Jessa, like, in terms of, like, all your applications last year to so many things. Like, you just kept applying. And,
You know, my favorite one is Create Magazine. I applied like 7 months in a row and got denied. And then Alicia was like, emailed me out of the blue, was like, hey, I saw you work on Jill's Curator. Do you want to do an interview in the magazine? I was like, yeah, I fucking do.
I've been trying.
I'm like,
you know what?
I have applied every month. And she goes,
you just have to
those
reach
are different
out.
curators. And I was like, I
It
know.
is.
So I'm like, I've paid my way into wanting this.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she said that, I was like, yeah, let's interview and I'll send you my image. And I'm like, I'm not applying anymore this year. But that was my goal in 2021.
I feel like it's
2020.
That's amazing.
2020, I said, I'll say yes to things I don't want to do because I always say no because I'm very selfish in my art. I'm like, this is for me. Like, from where it started with like art therapy level, and then the fact that I'm a designer and I have to design for clients and make the logo bigger and make it red and do whatever and like take my paycheck. I was like, my art's mine, and when I decide it's done and I like it, I don't give a fuck what I want. And like, you like it, you buy it. You don't like it, you don't buy it. Like, that's your problem, not mine. So it's kind of like that thing where I'm like really selfish in that way, but then 2020.
But those are good boundaries.
Are you selfish or protective?
Maybe both.
Like,
but 2020, I said, I'm kind of stuck here in this like right, you know, making my art goal. So I said, well, 2020, I'm just gonna say yes to things. And then Amber Lomax, one of our friends in our little community group here, was like, do you guys remember tunnel books? Do you guys remember from like high school? And there were those accordion fold things with frames, and they built a box, and then you like look through it. She was like, let's have a tunnel book show. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, yes, it's delayed. Because I was like, why did I say yes to that? And then like the year kind of like goes through. The show got pushed. And then I think in November, December, before Omicron came out or whatever, November, she was like, guys, it's for March 2022. Is that right? Or is it?
I think so.
2021.
We were still wearing masks.
March 2021. She's like, I need photos of your tunnel books because we need to start advertising. It's gonna happen. We're in. And I was like, do you remember?
Yeah, you didn't mention anything.
I was like,
you did not want to do that.
I was like, I said yes. That was like 11 fucking months ago. I don't want to do this anymore. But then these two other women dropped out of the show, and Amber's my friend, and then she was like, oh no, so and so dropped out. And I was like, fuck, they did it first. Now I'm stuck. And I just remember like looking around my studio, and you know, like I get all these old books that are damaged, and I rip them out and I collage on the covers, and I thought, because I just didn't want to make I didn't want to do the work. Like I'm lazy. I was like, I'm not in high school anymore, and I don't want to do this. I didn't want to make those frames in the box and the like, you know, the not foam core, but whatever it is. And you gotta cut it so nice and whatever.
The matting.
I don't want to. Yeah, the mat board. I was like, I don't want to do this. So then I was like, oh, what if I just cut it into a book? So I really like
that then.
No, I didn't. It existed on the internet. I just didn't really realize
But they took
it.
off for you though.
Well, I just like carved into this book and like shoved some shit in it. Took a picture and I was like, if I can do this, I'll be in the show, and if I can't, I'm out. And Amber's like, it looks awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll make more. And that's how that happened. So I have Amber to thank for that, because otherwise, and like my little goal, and those people that dropped out before me that were way faster, because if all those things didn't happen, there's no chance in hell I would have made a tunnel book. Like,
it's beautiful.
But then I got addicted because I'm like, I like making these.
Yeah.
And then the internet was like, do workshops. I'm like, why? Just like cut the book and put things in it. And then I realized when I did my work for it, I was like, oh, I do have lots of tips and tricks, and I can tell you because I've done a bazillion of them.
And not only that, you get to meet cool people along the way and make more connections.
To be fair, my workshops are awesome. They're all like 29 to like 69-year-old women from across the world. Only 2 from Canada, so Canadians, please join. Mostly Americans join, and they're a blast. And I'm like filling out my USA
Do they ever go, your accent's so cute?
No.
Really?
No, because
Oh.
you like have someone like there's like Texas and then like South Carolina and I don't know. There's like a
they
lot of
tell
accents.
me my accent's really cute, like all the
well,
American girls, and I was like,
Really?
what fucking accent are they talking about?
You know what's so funny about that? So I was on a podcast with Rob,
I don't
which
have
is
an
like
accent.
the truth in this art, and we were talking. I don't know if it was on the podcast or before, but we were kind of talking about accents and things because he's in Baltimore, I think. And we were talking like there's race things we were talking about too because he's black, and I said something about like having a black thumb gardening, and he was like, "What? What is that?" And that was hilarious. And I was like, "No, it's a thing."
It's like,
And he's like, "Well, I have a black thumb." I was like, "Yeah, literally, you do." So that was a very funny moment in my first podcast I ever did. But we were talking about those sort of things, and I said, you know, my daughter the other day I was talking about accents. I don't know, like one of her teachers or something. And she's like, "Yeah, but we don't have an accent." And it's just so funny how, of course we do. Like everyone has an accent.
everyone
right?
has an accent.
But I was
somehow.
like, us Canadians are like,
But I just
We
think
don't have
like
an
I'm like
accent.
we're not that far from one another, and I don't hear it like an
No,
accent.
we
Like
wouldn't
be
hear it,
obvious
though.
to me, like
It's
Some-
our speaking.
right. So, but then they're like, "You're so cute." I'm just like, what?
I've never had that.
No, yeah, but like all from like those women down there, they're just. I was like, I feel like I sound like you, but okay.
Because we enunciate every
Yeah,
word.
I guess so.
Maybe.
I-
We have less of a drawl.
Obviously,
or
none of us
something.
hear it.
No, like we're all.
I like to play it up sometimes when I'm online and like
Hey,
not
hey.
like when I'm talking. Actually, but though when you go like Toronto and that area, lots of it is different than this way.
Newfoundland is the best.
Well,
accent.
I
Newfoundland.
just got back.
Once
from
buddy had a
there.
buddy with a big bean, said a buddy, two buddy, could a buddy, tell a buddy what a buddy means. My
Yeah.
friend used to like, oh, and she'd say it so fast. And my best friend was from Newfoundland. And then like with the oil industry, they all came to our community for a while. And yeah, like that one's hard to understand. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a whole different language.
It's
if
like
you ask
almost. It's almost rural Australian level.
me. It is.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's
special.
we just went for our family holiday to Newfoundland and for a family reunion.
Newfoundland.
For
Newfoundland. It's not even Newfoundland. In New York, sorry to
Newfoundland.
interrupt you. In New York, when I was trying oysters for the first time, yes, and I was like, "You have Newfoundland spelled wrong on your menu," and he's like, "It's Newfoundland." I was like,
He's
"It's
correcting you?
not Newfoundland, actually."
Newfoundland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in fact, when you
Like,
go to Newfoundland, it's like
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. It's like Newfoundland.
Slur it
It's
together.
like Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so you know. Just
Well,
so
it's
you
just
know
like
for your
it's-
future customers.
It's not Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Toronto.
It's Toronto.
Yeah.
Right.
When I went to the East Coast for school, which I hated,
Where's she
it
going?
was
You
the
went to-
There's a
worst.
plug
You're
for
in
Eastern
Vancouver.
Canada.
No, sorry. It was not
Maybe it
that
was just
bad.
the school.
It was the people.
Where were you again? You were.
I was at NASCAD.
Yeah.
The people were real jerks, super snobby. And I'm just not very snobby. Like, I'm just like, let's be friends, sort
That's
of person.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it
I
was just a
hate-
bad group. It was just maybe,
snobby
I don't
art
know.
people.
Yeah,
They're
I
the worst.
really, really
They're the
hate
worst.
snobby art people.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, I'm like, make ugly shit. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like your ugly shit might sell better than someone who's been to art school. So who cares?
Oh, I don't think people need to go to art school at
No, I don't
all.
either. Or
Anyway,
design
but
school.
what
you
were
need
we
to, like,
saying about it?
work
The East
hard.
Coast?
You're just
When
saying-
you went out to.
You went to school and you hated it, and you were traveling for a holiday.
Oh, it was just it was just funny mention.
Were you like,
Who
pardon me?
mentioned the Australian?
Yeah,
Well,
you're
my
like,
mom's
sorry.
Australian,
Oh,
and
I
my
remember.
partner is like his mom's Newfie, and both countries. I call Newfoundland a country because they were their own place until 1974.
Yeah.
But it's like the outspoken. They
There's
do
so
their
much-
own thing.
there's so much
It's their
slang,
own
Yeah.
drum,
too.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
much slang that you
It's
kind
fun.
of, like,
It's a new culture. It is a
comfortable.
cultural experience.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, there was lots of students at Dalhousie from Toronto, and yeah, there are accents. Toronto. Anyway, they would say brandy, and so we'd be like out drinking. They'd be like brandy. I was like, these are my new friends from Toronto. Toronto. But yeah, I had more friends from Dalhousie than I had at NASCAD. Well, they would like march to the Salvation Army, and I knew they were all, sorry, I know you all live here, but they were from Vancouver, and they were very wealthy because they lived in houses that their parents bought for them to rent to their friends. So I was like, you're sporting all this, like this look, but like to look poor? Like I was so done with them. I was just like, oh, I can't stand the like irony in all of this. And you're just like, or I guess their attempt to be ironic or something. I don't know.
Was that the hipster
It was so
thing?
bad.
Like,
The hipster
when
thing,
it's
but like
ironing
before
on and
hipster
on?
was a
Oh,
word.
it was pre-hipster?
Yeah, because I'm just a little bit older than that.
How old
Yeah.
are you?
I'm 30.
I'm 20.
30.
And I feel
37. I like myself much better than I liked myself in art school.
I'm with you. I like myself better now as I get older.
Yeah,
Totally.
way better.
I would like to go back though and like have like, you know, just before kids and I still had energy and better liver.
With your mind.
Yeah, and like and my more confidence and like go back and
Do you ever
just,
think
like,
about
don't get
that?
to do that.
I'm just gonna go back to high school and
not
like
high school, no.
I will.
Like
You
26.
couldn't pay me enough.
First of
Like
all,
26,
convince my
27.
dad I'll learn how to invest. I'll learn how to invest because I still don't know, and just like do that, but also like hop on social media just a bit earlier.
Right?
Yeah, and
Also-
like sell stuff early on, and then invest that money because I'll know how to. I'll have taught myself to invest. But the internet, I could not go back to dial-up speed. That would be the adjustment
No, I'm
of
talking
hell. Hella adjustment to dial-up.
15 years ago.
You've been doing this thing early enough, the art thing early enough. Well,
I think
to
we're all
on
in the
Instagram.
established area, yeah. Okay, no, I hopped on Instagram pretty late.
2017.
It doesn't matter if like,
Yeah.
you know, if you have one thing that catches on, it's like that thing. I have trouble though because I can't make one thing consistently. Like Jessa, you have that like look of
Yeah.
your like. I was
Your
like,
page
I
is
can't
great.
just
Because
do
I'm
that. I'm
selfishly
just like,
doing what I want.
I think I might have ADD just a little bit
I
because
feel
I
like
can't.
your art's really consistent. What
Yeah.
do you mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yes.
I
Thank
totally
you.
feel like you're.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
At least someone
Definitely.
feels that way.
Definitely.
I feel like my
Who's
mind's
telling
on
you
fire
otherwise?
all the time.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Have you
Yeah.
seen my page?
Yeah.
Like, it's all over the map.
Yeah.
Like,
But your
it's-
work's very consistent looking.
Like, thanks.
Yeah. There we go.
I don't feel like that.
Has anyone tried this? It's mushroom fudge, by the way. I know, Jessa, you can't
I
have
gotta
it.
drive.
No, it's not.
It's
It's the good. It's the good.
It's
That's
all
peanut
mushroom
butter. That one's mushroom, and that one's mushroom. It's like the stuff that just like the good mushrooms, like lime,
Oh,
chaga,
lion's
reishi,
mane,
all the
Like
good
healthy
mushrooms.
mushrooms.
I'm like
Put
super
chocolate in my
obsessed
teeth.
with them
With
for
them.
women's health. Very important.
Yeah.
Chills you out
Oh,
big
does it?
time.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't believe my This
I
took
was
a
gonna
turn.
say, she
Sorry.
says chills you up, but my mind is on fire.
My mind is on fire
Are you
all
sure?
the time. Yeah, like it's helped me big time.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
you are.
Did
You
not
should
know
eat
that's
that.
I
Eat the
know. I
mushrooms.
should just snort mushrooms all the time. My naturopath last year at this time, it was the first time I went on it. She put me on it before we got here, and it didn't come in the mail. So then I went to the market here, and of course they have mushroom everything because it's where
The
you are.
island.
It's amazing. I love it. Should live here. And so I found some. I found a blend by Harmonic Arts,
Oh yeah.
which I also love a lot. And I got on it right away, and I was like so chill that I was just like, oh my gosh, I did not believe my naturopath
Oh,
at
really?
all.
I
Yeah,
have to
I'm
do
like,
that.
I feel like a different person,
I think
This is
that
a
but the
tea?
same, but a better person.
is a tea.
You
right?
can take, like, you can get just a pill to take every day. You can get the blend to put in soup. You can put it in chocolate. You can have it in your matcha in the morning. You can have it in your coffee in the morning. You can just, if you want to
Are we talking like microdosing?
No, not microdosing.
Oh, okay.
Just like medicinal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, it's nothing scary. Like, it's
Yeah.
never gonna, like, if you fudge out hard, like, you definitely, like, feel like I am relaxed state. Which I have done at night. Like, on my period, I'll just fudge out really hard. And watch a movie.
Alrighty, so wasn't that the best? Even if we delved into fudge and cuisine near the end.
I got 49.
Buddy, I'm podcasting. Okay, I know you love money and counting. We really have to go. I want you to think about after this is connecting and finding your community. It's so important. No matter where your interests lie, you need community. You cannot do this alone, and you shouldn't. And your community will support you in more ways than one, just in the most beautiful way. And I want you to think about how you can move forward and connect with community, because we're all stronger together. And I always talk about it, I have the best partners and supporters, podcast supporters, BioClean Disaster Services. We are going there, and we're going to wash all our hockey equipment. They do that as a service, and it's gross and it smells, and I cannot wait to do that. Although it's kind of my husband's thing he takes care of, so he'll go. But they do that as a service there. And also catch our sale. Remember, till Sunday, tomorrow, last day to catch our sale. Today, 20% off. That's for classes. And they keep stealing from this treat bin beside me and running away. Cool. Whatever gets me through this next minute. Nouveau Laser Aesthetic Center makes me feel beautiful in my own skin and the confidence I need to finally show up on camera instead of just me drawing all the time. And we have Oasis Hot Yoga and Spin Studio. And stay tuned, because we're going to be partnering and doing some upcoming workshops. So if you have any requests or ideas, reach out and let me know of what you need. I'm thinking of an intuitive, abstract workshop with trusting your intuition sessions. I think those would be really good, like a day of sipping tea and learning to trust your intuition through creativity and yoga. Let me know what you think. And so that will be locally in Lloydminster, available to locals. But I also think we should do some online sessions, make that available for people who can't make it out physically to where we are. And we have Red Bicycle Communications, who inspire me always, and we team up on a lot of projects, and so stay tuned for more in our community, and remember to reach out to yours and find your supporters and partners and lifelong friends, and then you just never know what will happen. You might go on vacation and just find more besties and want to go back, and yeah, I believe in you, and be sure to, you can also find friends in our community, Color Me Happy. Feel free to share in there. It's a safe space. I monitor each post and make sure that everyone is feeling empowered or getting helped with their struggles, or just has a creative query or wants to share what they made. So yeah, join there. It's free. We'd love to have you. It's on Facebook, and it's always available in our notes. Have the best day ever.
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.